Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Andy in Singapore, and for today's video we have this really unusual looking Seiko 5 sports watch here, and this watch was loaned in from our boutique. I really gotta thank Eric Lee and his team over at our boutique for so generously loaning me all these watches for my video reviews. The reference number for today's review watch is SRPJ09K1, and this is one of the latest release from Seiko. And I've actually reviewed a similar, in fact identical type of Seiko 5 sports watch, and that one was the SRPE37K1. So the entire new Seiko 5 series, the SRPG and SRPJ military sort of field watch series, it replaces the SNK and the SNZG series. Those watches were really popular and they were regarded as the best budget Seiko field or military style watches. But those watches, they have the 7S 26 or 36 movement, and the newer series, the upgraded watches, now come with the 4R36 movements, and I think this is a big upgrade. So with updated movement in terms of the 4R36, you get hacking and hand winding. I think I will very much prefer these features to be found in my mechanical watches. At a street price of about Singapore dollars $310, you can definitely get this one from our boutique. I would say this one here carries a slight premium over the usual all stainless steel models, but I think it could be due to the fact that this is a rather new model. So Seiko has decided to go for this all black stealthy look to a very popular case design and overall dial design here, this military field watch look. All right, so over here it is admittedly not very legible. All right, on first hand, I need to admit to you, this dial here with all black colorway, this stealthy look here does pose some kind of problems when you're trying to read the time at first glance. But I think that's not the entire intention of this watch, because if you're wearing a watch like this, I believe it is more for making a statement, all right, a fashion statement with this stealthy look and all that. So not so much for practicality, because if you're looking for a watch for practicality, you'll probably go for the usual stainless steel case with bright hands and hour markers. And although the watch here is marketed as an all black design, it is not exactly pure black. All right, I would say this is a really dark shade of gunmetal, a very dark gunmetal that looks almost black from afar. Alright, but in actual fact, it is done in a really nice satin finish gunmetal. You can see a bit of the brushing over here, but it's not quite brush finishing. Alright, I would say this is a really attractive looking finish with the right amount of sheen to it. And again, with this all black look to the entire watch, alright, from the bracelet, clasp, watch and everything, all black, with this red Sunday day wheel, I really think that this is a watch that this guy would wear. Okay, all right, the biggest, baddest, mean guy in space. All right, so I can't resist. All right, I can't help it. I need to deliver this line now. I am your father. So with the lens zoom in just a little bit, I'd like to talk to you a bit more on the specifications of this watch. Okay, so it's got a case size of 39.5 millimeters, and the total thickness of the watch is 13.4 millimeters from the base of the exhibition case back to the top of the slightly domed hardlex crystal. So for some reason, Seiko has listed this to be, I think, 13 millimeters total thickness, but in actual fact it is closer to 13.5. So we've got a lug width of 20 millimeters, thereby making this more or less a strap monster. But do bear in mind that you really need to have a black strap for this. Okay? So I don't think you can put a white rubber strap or an orange rubber strap on this kind of watch, alright? So anything on it should be black. And we've also got a rather manageable lug length of 48 millimeters. So overall, I would say this watch remains very wearable, okay, in terms of dimension, but I'm just a little bit concerned about the thickness. Right here you can see that the case back is protruding a little bit too much, and on top of that they've combined it with this rather tall bezel. So the overall thickness at about 13.4, 13.5 is a little bit too much, in my opinion, for this style of watch. And as mentioned earlier, the wearability of this watch here is not an issue at all. Even though it's got a 48 millimeters L to L measurement, right? The watch remains really wearable, all right? And I think you can definitely change things up a bit with a canvas strap or even a rubber strap on this one. And in terms of dial design, we're definitely looking at this all black stealth theme to the look of it. But these indices over here, the Arabic hour markers, the Seiko logo and the Seiko Sports 5 logo, they are rather shiny. So they're also done in the shade of gunmetal. But at certain angles under light play, you will see that they sort of, appear a little bit shiny. And as we apply enough light play to this dial here, you realize it sort of comes alive when the light hits it at the right angles. Okay, so I think that's a really nice move by Seiko. Even the 24-hour markings on the inner track here, they are also done in sort of a greyish type of paint, not quite pure white. And again, it sort of contrasts really well with the all black theme on the dial and case. And now let's check out the lume on the all black Seiko 5 Sports. As you can see, this is probably the worst lume on any Seiko watch that I have reviewed. So as we speak now, it is starting to fade. And for comparison, let me just bring in my Seiko Samurai next to it, and you can see that this Seiko Samurai here is the usual standard that I would expect from a Seiko watch or a Seiko dive watch. But sadly, the one on my left, the Seiko 5, has already, faded to total darkness. So I think in terms of lume, this watch, I would say the lume here is just non-existent. But I think, to be fair, the lume brightness is not the main point of this watch. So all in all, I'd like to just repeat my point about this watch being a fashion statement, alright? It's definitely not for practical reasons, because let's be honest about it, you can't really read the time easily of this dial here. Everything looks so dark, so black, and at first glance, I don't think you can read time very easily. But as a fashion piece, a fashion accessory, I think it looks really cool. So if you're looking for this all black look, this stealthy, dark, gothic, moody look, I think this watch could be ideal for you. But let me just say it in this tone and mannerism, alright? This watch would be ideal for you. So there you have it. That was my quick review of the Seiko all black SRPJ09K1. This one here is an interesting piece. Definitely not my type of watch, but I think it does have an intended market. Alright, so if you like this watch, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. This is Andy in Singapore. And I'll see you next week together with George and his friend. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.